Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Bowl or Brown Out Loud, a podcast where stories come to life in the most fun and lighthearted way possible. I'm your host Sania and I'm joined by my co-host and sister Anam, जिसका तकिया कलाम है anyway.
Gee nahi. This is what we've planned for you. On the first and third Tuesday of every month, we'll bring you stories rooted in our brown experiences. Whether it's a wild adventure, a quirky character, or a kahani mein twist, we will share stories that are sure to make you laugh or smile. Wo bhi chalega.
This week we are chatting about the world of bosses. I'm just reminded of that song Anam that went viral last year.
Sanya, please don't sing. Like the last thing you need to do is sing again. Like seriously.
I'm going to sing in my Besura voice, but it was something like, I know there's an email that hopes to find me well. I hope it don't find me. Remember?
No, you just made something up right now.
No,
Doesn't
look
even.
it up. Look it up. It is a song.
Oh, actually, wait. It is a song by Keith Juluka. Okay,
Yeah.
Sanya, great. So, listeners, if you're done with our podcast, Sanya's obviously providing you better content. Look up Keith Juluka and follow him instead. Yeah, great work, Sanya.
I brought this song up because I think it sums up this episode so well.
Wow. Now that you've summed up the episode before we've even begun, let's wrap this up. Okay, folks, that's a wrap on Bowl. It was nice knowing
Okay.
you.
Okay, let's get back, or how we say in workplace lingo, let's circle back. Let's touch base about the topic of bosses. And I have the perfect story to start this conversation. This is the most epic story I ever heard. And of course, it involves you, Anam. And listeners, if you have a better story, please write to us because it's really hard to top this story. So, this is a story where Anam went for a job interview, and this was a final round. And the founder CEO was interviewing Anam, and the person said that Anam, I really like you, but I am not the final decider. And Anna was like, what? Is there another round? I wasn't aware of that. And the person said, yep, you will be selected based on whether God likes you or not. And then she had a final round with God. Anna, how did that go?
I had told you not to mention the story, but again, not listening to anything I say. But yeah, actually, this happened to me when she told me that God's gonna decide, and I was like, "Whoops, didn't prepare for this round." Anyway, she took out two chits. She wrote something on the chits, and then she threw the chits in front of God. There were the pictures of God, like front and side profile of the same God.
There were two pictures so that in case there was a blind spot.
Yeah, so she picked up a chit, and then obviously just to add more suspense, there was like a moment of silence, and I was like sweating because I'm like, did not know this part. Anyway, so she picked up the chit and she's like smiled and said, God wants Anam Zedi. And that's how I got the job.
Wow. Wow. And I remember we asked and I'm like, how was your interview? Like, what did they ask? And she was like, it was like hard to explain. It's like non-verbal stuff.
To all job seekers, from my lived experience, the pearls of wisdom that I can give you right now is stop writing cover letters to recruiters. Write to the main recruiter, God. Like, write a cover letter that says, I'm a Homo sapien from the last 30 plus years.
I'm a hobo sapien.
Homo sapien. Sanya, I said Homo sapien. You're just trying to catch a word that you can laugh about.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So Anam was interviewed by God.
No, but Sanya, this piece you don't know. God came into the picture after 1 year when it was my performance appraisal time, and
What? God was evaluating you too?
yeah,
Anyway, using your word, Anam, anyway, talking about types of bosses, I asked folks around like, hey, what are the types of like fun boss stories you've had? And I remembered this one friend of mine. She said that she had a really stingy boss who would like never pay for stuff. And once that boss was like, "Oh yeah, you want to go for that conference? I'm going to pay, the project's going to pay for this conference." And this friend was really excited that, yay, everything's all expense paid. And then very close to the conference date, she found out that she was going to share the room with her boss, and she was freaking out because she was a sleep talker and a sleepwalker. Like, I couldn't sleep all night because, what if I said something to her, about her in the night? So she had like the worst experience ever.
Okay. And the other thing, this is really scary, man. Like, sharing a room with your boss and being a sleepwalker and a talker. Like, I don't want to be in that position at all. I would
Yeah.
also not sleep. Things you should write on your resume: sleepwalker, stuff like that would actually get you a separate room. This is a good brown culture heirloom, according to your hot take.
Yeah.
Talking about uh, boss and crossing boundaries, remember how I have a boss will video call me anytime, anywhere, with no notice.
Yes. There have been so many unfinished conversations that I've had with Anam because of her boss would just magically appear. And I remember this one really well, that Anam was telling me that a story, and she was like, Sania, my neighbor was walking her kid in a stroller. And I was like, okay, then what happened? And she was like, oh my God, my boss called. And she hung up. And I was like, what? This cliffhanger was like bothering me so much. And I was Googling like things in Anam's area to check the local news, like what happened to the woman who was walking her kid in a stroller. And now all my ads on Instagram are about Anam's local area and selling strollers.
No, I think this is a common phenomena, Sanya.
No, Anam. Nobody has bosses calling you on video all day. Like, Anam, you've had like the most fun bosses, like fun content wise.
No, I like these bosses because they really made me the epicenter of their universe. I remember this was not a direct manager of mine, and we were in this fundraising event. And so this big donor came, and this manager is like, "Oh, have you met Anam Zedi? And she's doing brilliant work in the organization." And this donor is like, "Oh, what is it that you do?" And I was very keen to know how this person would introduce me. And he was like, "She is the head of IT." Of course, the brown person in the room had to be the head of IT. And I'm like, for everyone listening, I'm not into the IT sector.
Wow. They must have been so pissed because you are the worst with projectors. Anam. Some IT person got fired because Anam was, not doing her job well. And they were like, oh, yeah, that IT person needs to get sacked.
Sanya, if you have internet needs, call me. My brown color will help you fix your modem.
Man, I also remember like talking about mistaken identities. I had a boss once who used to call me Sania Zeda, and and I never corrected her, and I just went by, being Sania Zeda. And now, like in government forms, when they ask like for an alias, I wonder if I should write, when they say alias, like other names you've had, I wonder if I should write Zeda there. Because, for a long time I went with that last name.
I like that name. It has a ring to it. I'm just going to call you Zeta.
What are some other fun things, Anam, you've heard about bosses?
I've heard how spell check gets in your way, and some people wanted to write. This is actually that happened with our friend, and he wrote that to his boss that, "I know you're very busy, but obviously spell check came in between," and he wrote, "I know you're very busty." There are so many stories where there are these oddities that we notice of our boss, and we just embrace it as if this is my destiny. Like,
So, talking about bosses, Anam, I think we have so much more because you have such great gems of stories for bosses. So, let's get into Kissa time, where Anam, you are going to tell us a story, another story about a boss encounter.
Okay, so let's talk about bosses. You know, those mystical creatures who thrive on emails at midnight, believe lunch breaks are a suggestion, and if you're really lucky, think work life balance means putting a bed in their office. Yes, you heard it right. A bed in the office. But hold on, we'll get to that. So, very early on in my career, I had a boss. Let's call her Miss Never Rests. She had a vision, and that vision was everyone in office all the time. Weekdays expected, Saturdays mandatory, national holidays. Why should the country's freedom come between us and work, Anam? And then there were Sundays. You know, the sacred day of rest? Mm-mm, not for her. While normal people were out enjoying brunch, I was usually always in a conference room discussing spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations. But one fateful Sunday, I just had enough. I was done, yaar, finished, tapped out. And so I did what any overworked employee would do. I lied. Took a deep breath and then sent her a message. Ma'am, I can't make it today. I have a really bad backache. I thought this was a foolproof genius plan. I mean, who argues with back pain? It's vague, it's unprovable, like the gold standard of sick day excuses. So, next Monday, I walk into her office and I'm like trying to be a little fragile and like, I have a slight limp just for dramatic effect, for consistency. And she looks at me with a face of concern and says, Anam, I was thinking about you all weekend. And for a second, I'm like, she was thinking about me, like not thinking about work? Wow, she really cares. But before I could say anything, she followed up saying, So I have called my personal physiotherapist. Don't worry, we'll fix your back, and he's right here. And I blink and I'm like, damn, my excuse has backfired. Before I can even process what's happening, in walks Dr. Overeager, grinning like he's just found his next long term patient. But wait, plot twist of all plot twists. My boss had a curtain in her office. Yes, a literal curtain. A divider between her desk and her bed because, why go home when you can just live at work? So she's like, You guys carry on, go ahead, just pull the curtain while I continue my other meetings. Awkward. Anyway, I'm lying behind a curtain and this doctor overeager is asking me 60, 70 questions about my pain points. Kahan dard ho raha hai? Aise kariye. I have to commit, right? So I'm nodding along, pretending I've been suffering for years, and I'm like, "रात में ज़्यादा दर्द होता है, मैं झुक भी नहीं पाती. It's unbearable, doctor." And so, after the entire interrogation, he starts with my shoulders. Now, I don't know if he was a physiotherapist or a former WWE wrestler, but the man had strength. And at the end of this torture session, my back was now actually in pain. But wait, this is my life. So things have to get worse. Dr. Overeager, smelling a financial opportunity, comes out and tells my boss, Madam, her back is in severe condition. If we don't act now, she will face long term injury. आप लिख के रख लीजिए. She needs physiotherapy session. I recommend 2 hour session every day. And I'm horrified. And I just look at my boss because I'm so sure she's going to say, oh no, she'll be fine. She has to go back to work. Instead, my boss smiles and says, Done, doctor, whatever you say. And Dr. Overeager looks at me and grins and says, "So, Anna madam, same time, same place tomorrow?"
Wow. The final jigsaw in the puzzle that has been puzzling me for over a year has fallen into place, Anam. Anam, remember the time like a couple of years ago, I went to physical therapy and a chiropractor. That was the first time I went, and I was like, oh, I was trying to describe to you what happens and how good it is, and you were just dismissive, and you were like, I don't want to hear, like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, my God, Anam is so close-minded. Like, now I know why.
My mind and body were bruised. But I would just
Man,
like to say, Sanya, that I was the boss's favorite, and that's why this happened to me.
no.
Yeah, other folks had backaches, and a physiotherapist was never called. It was only for
Because
me.
theirs was genuine and yours was fake. And talking about fake backaches, like I don't think fake backaches have our backs as an excuse for us Zaidis. Because I also used the fake backache story once in college where it was mandatory to do some sort of exercise to graduate, I guess. And I told the yoga instructor that I had a backache, and he gave me a million modifications because he was like, "Oh, you have a backache. You can still do everything, but differently." And then in class, he would say, "जिनकी पीठ टूटी है, वो ये ना करे." Like people with broken backs should modify this pose this way. And everyone was like, "Oh my God, who has a broken back?" And I had to like live that lie.
Sanya, no
And
one is your friend. Just
no good excuse is a friend. So yeah, please tell the truth. This is a lesson for truth. And talking about Anam, your story, I love that your boss had a bed at work.
she like Sanya, I think Ariana Huffington came about this whole concept of having a sleep pod in office, and I was
Yes.
like, she's copying it from my boss because my boss did it 30 years back. I mean, not
Ye-
30 years back, yeah.
30 years. Man, talk about Anam aging real well.
No, she did it much before I came to office, is what I'm saying.
I'm very inspired. Like instead of a backpack, I'm going to take a mattress to work now.
Don't take a whole mattress, Sanya. Otherwise, God will fire you. But this is what happens. Like, the one time I tried lying at work and I came
One
back with
time,
bruises.
I'm sure. I'm sure that was the only time when I'm lied at work, and it she was penalized for that. Yeah. And talking about the scale, Anam, I want to rate this story. Let's bring up the hot take scale. So, number one is trauma, trauma, trauma. Two is typical. Three is bolti band. Four is brown culture heirloom. And five is good old lol. Anam, this for me is number two, typical. It really sounds like a you thing that you got free physical therapy and you complained about it. Instead of enjoying it, you complained about it.
Sanya, I don't know if you know that it's a difference between a massage and a physical therapy. When you don't have an injury and you get physical therapy, you get injured. Just like read up. Bring thought you were the researcher here. So yeah, it wasn't a soothing sound bathing massage, and it was physical therapy in my boss's room while she was doing meeting, and I couldn't even scream or say ah ooh whatever. And yeah, and my boss paid that physiotherapist.
Wow.
Again, I didn't get performance appraisal because she paid the money to the physiotherapist. So basically,
Wow.
I've just been living in poverty all my life.
This needs a new scale, which is number six, karma, 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 which you should get for
Or number
lying,
seven, pain, pain, pain.
which was a result of your karma. And now, Anam, that we've discussed this whole episode, This whole episode has been dedicated up to Anam and her bosses. Let's go to other things that we do on this podcast, which is game time.
All right, so we are playing Bowl Baby Bowl, and I am making my debut today. Yay!
Woohoo!
I'm going to read the question and I'll see if I get fatigued, and then I will see if Sanya can guess it. Sanya, are you ready to lose? Are you ready to lose?
I'm excited to finally answer.
Okay, which of these boss types have you survived? The clock watcher stares at the time when you log in and out like it's a reality show. The vanishing act disappears when you need them, magically reappears for credit. The let's circle back pro, master of deflecting decisions until the problem magically disappears. And of course, the unicorn boss, actually supportive and makes you want to stay. Are they even for real? So, Sanya, the Janta has answered, and I have all the results, and I don't tamper results like you do. So,
Okay.
you are on the hot seat. बताइए
Yay!
कि सही जवाब कौन सा है?
Wow, I'm so excited of what Janta has chosen of boss types that they have survived. I think the winner is the Let's Circle Back Pro, master of reflecting decisions until the problem magically disappears. Option 3,
Are you ready?
yes.
You want to take any lifeline, Sanya?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. कंप्यूटर जी लॉक किया जाए क्योंकि सानिया गलत जवाब है ये.
What?
Yes, 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 yes.
What?
Just let me just clap. Let's clap because on record Sanya has lost, and the
For the first time.
gods have finally listened to me. Today, for the first time, we have a tie, and it was a tie between the vanishing act, where the boss disappears when you need them,
Ooh.
and the unicorn boss. Apparently, people have supportive bosses. And Sanya, your answer was like the third voted answer. So you really miserably lost. You were not even a close second.
But two things one. So mine was the third, right? So I was
Oh my
close.
God. Sanya, how do you feel losing?
I am happy for the Janta that
Mhm.
so many people have good work experiences. Kudos to
Don't.
you guys. Good for you. More power to you to be in good workplaces. I'm very happy for that. And I guess that I thought people would choose option 3, but no.
Sanya's blabbering because losing is not in her forte and she finally lost. So, Sanya, आपको कैसा लगता है कि ये आप 6 बार कर चुकी हैं और आपने जो सबका मजाक उड़ाया है, जो हारते थे, हंस हंस के, आज आपको कुछ कहना है? आप
No, I still have so many episodes before I lose as much as you did, Anam.
ये देखिए, इन्होंने अपने को एक और चेतावनी दे दी है कि और अभी हारेंगी ये. ये देखिए. Anyway, Sanya, you have lost. I am going to message the entire world to listen to this episode for sure. Like 2x it and listen to the last part because Sanya has lost. Oh my God, the gods have finally spoken. This is it. This is
Okay,
your
Anam. Okay,
karma. This
Anam.
is your
अच्छा चलो
karma.
आगे बढ़ो. आगे बढ़ो, Anam.
सानिया
Let's go to
परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल
closing.
नहीं मिला मुझे पूरी लाइफ में बट इससे बेटर बोनस कोई नहीं दे सकता था एनीवे हार हार के अब हम खत्म करेंगे ये पॉडकास्ट That's a wrap on another episode of Bowl. If we made you laugh or smile, do us a favor like, share, subscribe, and spread the word, folks. Tune in on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, and Chio Sawan. You can find the links for all these things in our Instagram bio. Also, don't forget to share your favorite moments or thoughts with us on Instagram at brown.out.loud or on TikTok at brownoutloud. Until next time, it's us, Anam and Sanya, keeping the stories alive. Adab! Haranti? कहाँ गई?
Adab. Bye.